Imagine a queen so shocking, so scandalous, that whispers spread through the palace that she might bring a plague into Spain. Not because of invading armies, not because of famine, but because she refused to change her underwear. Yes, you heard that right. This is no wild tavern rumor. This is a strange, unsettling story of Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans, the queen whose bizarre habits horrified the royal court, and whose short reign left behind one of the most grotesque legacies in European history. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear sounds like legend, but the whispers of history say otherwise. Welcome to Forgotten Historians, where we uncover the strangest scandals, darkest secrets, and rulers history textbooks often try to bury. If you love digging into stories that shock, disturb, and fascinate, hit that subscribe button right now and join us as we step inside a royal court that smelled worse than any battlefield. It's 1722. Europe is shifting, alliance is forming, and a fragile balance holds between kingdoms. Into this tense moment steps Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans, a French princess, just 12 years old, sent across the Pyrenees to marry the teenage heir to Spain's throne, Louis, Prince of Asturias. The Spanish court expected elegance, dignity, and the refinement of Versailles. After all, this girl came from one of the most polished courts in Europe. But the courtiers were horrified almost from the moment she arrived. Instead of a graceful young princess, they saw someone unruly, careless, and shockingly unhygienic. While other queens bathed, perfumed themselves, and changed their gowns daily, Louise Elizabeth was rumored to avoid bathing altogether and never change her undergarments. Imagine the whispers spreading. She reeks of filth. She could poison the air itself. In a time when disease haunted Europe, people feared filth the way we fear plague or pandemics today. The longer she stayed, the more the stories grew. Courtiers described her as erratic, impulsive, even indecent. She would burst out laughing in church, run through the palace half-dressed, and, according to some accounts, even expose herself to shocked attendants. But the real scandal was her hygiene. The stench became legendary. Imagine being a servant in those tight palace corridors, trapped between golden tapestries and velvet curtains, while your queen's smell fills the air. Superstition spread quickly. In the early 18th century, filth and disease were inseparable in people's minds. To them, a queen who refused to wash wasn't just disgusting. She was dangerous. Some whispered that she could infect the palace, bring illness to the king, even spark a new plague in Spain. The courtiers began calling her the most unfit queen Spain had ever seen, and behind closed doors, ministers worried that her reputation could destabilize the monarchy itself. Then history took a shocking turn. In 1724, Philip of Spain abdicated, passing the throne to his young son. Overnight, Louise Elizabeth, barely 15, became Queen of Spain. The court trembled. This scandalous, unhygienic teenager was now the most powerful woman in the kingdom. What would Spain become under her reign? But fate intervened. Only 7 months later, King Louis I died of smallpox. At just 17, his reign, and hers, was over almost before it began. The Spanish court wasted no time. Louise Elizabeth was expelled from Madrid, cast out in disgrace, and sent back to France. For Spain, she was a nightmare best forgotten. For history, she became a legend. Now here's the question. Was she really that filthy? Did she truly never change her underwear, or was this an exaggerated tale spread by enemies? Historians believe Louise Elizabeth may have suffered from mental health struggles, thrown into an arranged marriage far too young. Some even suggest a borderline personality disorder or depression, worsened by isolation in a foreign court. It's possible her odd behavior was exaggerated into scandalous gossip. After all, royal courts thrived on rumor, and nothing destroyed a queen faster than being branded as dirty and diseased. But whether true or twisted, the story stuck. For centuries, she has been remembered not as a queen of politics or diplomacy, but as the queen who never changed her underwear. Louise Elizabeth's life is a reminder that history doesn't always remember leaders for their power or accomplishments. Sometimes it remembers them for the whispers, the rumors, the strange and unsettling stories that refuse to die. She was just 19 when she died in Paris, far from the throne she once held, her short reign buried in scandal, yet her name lives on in legend. A tragic young queen whose legacy still shocks us today. So what do you think? Was Louise Elizabeth truly the filthy queen who almost brought plague to Spain, or just another victim of history's cruel gossip? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this dive into history's strangest scandal, don't forget to hit that like button, share this with a friend who loves bizarre history, and of course, subscribe to Forgotten Historians for more tales that textbooks leave behind. Because here, we don't just study history, we dig up the stories the world tried to forget.